Welcome to my lighthouse. This is where I do all my early sowing for the season. As you can see, I'm pretty packed in here now at this point. We got a lot of things started, probably about 70% of what I grow besides the direct sowing. A few unique things like pink celery, jasmine tobacco, things like rosemary even. Pretty hard to germinate. It takes a long time. Plants are still little, but I'm excited. Onions, beets, zinnias, all kinds of stuff just to take a quick look at and see how things are doing. All of my pepper plants, and they're doing pretty good still. I'm getting a little bit of yellowing now. They're definitely aching to be transplanted, and some flowering, but that often happens. But we're gonna top these, so we're gonna take the flower right off so that they branch out into more of a bushy plant. And I've started them a couple weeks earlier this year to kind of account for that time. Millionaire hybrid aubergine or eggplant. They're doing pretty good, except for a little bit of leaf curling. I think it's just because they've totally outgrown their little cell tray here. A couple yellowing leaves as well, but we're gonna get these transplanted. And under here we've got a licorice root plant. So if you need to hold your plants a little bit longer in their cell flat and they might be looking a little stressed, a simple thing you can do is grab some rich soil. I've got some sea soil here and just sprinkle it right in there on the root system. You don't need that much. Just give it a little bit of water just to moisten it. You still do want some air in there. Especially for peppers, you don't want standing water. So yeah, and that should keep your roots nice and vital, and hopefully grow some new white, little fine, refined roots as well. And they should hold for a few more days until you get to transplanting them or potting them on. A tray of pink celery here, and it's a little bit more stocky, a little less succulent than some of the green and white varieties. But nonetheless, a beautiful plant. So I'm excited to have some pink celery. You know, I do a lot of juicing with celery, so this may be just fine as juice as well. And we have some German wintertime. So I'm going to do the same thing with my celery. Look at those beautiful roots. I'm going to get some sea soil in the bottom here. And with the celery, it's okay to give a bit more water in there, so I'm just going to leave it on the celery side. It's fairly moist, the sea soil already, so the thyme will be fine. It likes it a bit drier, actually. I probably shouldn't have planted these in the same tray. Herbs generally like it a little bit on the dry side, and celery is more of a bog type plant naturally, so you can see some root or stalk elongation here on these plants, and this can happen when you don't get your lights close enough to your plants. So initially I germinate my seeds with no overhead light, just some bottom heat, and then if you miss when they pop, if you wait a day or two and they just have distant light or dark, they're going to elongate very fast. So that's what did happen here. I think I left it even just one day and this happened. And in general, keep your lights, you know, close as you can to your plants so you avoid elongation, you know, close as you can without overheating or burning them. And of course, light intensity plays a factor in the distance as well. But this is totally fine. We'll just bury these when we pot them on. Celery can handle being buried quite deeply, actually. And in this case, it looks more like a root anyhow, so we'll just bury it up to there and they'll become sturdy again. Here is our tango celery, started February 11th. It's good to start your celery pretty early because it takes quite a long time for them to develop. And I usually sow 3 seeds in each cell. You can see all 3 came up there. and then I thin them down to 2 or 1. They also do grow great as a pairing. So they grow great in sets of 2. I did a lot of that last year. And space them about 12 inches apart. That encourages blanching of the stalk. Now we've got a tray of Cabaret zinnias that just came up a couple days ago. Double cutting. Full tray of sweet basil, Genovese, and salad leaf. And I just flipped this tray on its side and spilled them all over, and a whole bunch came out. That was really frustrating, but they'll come back around. They'll be fine. And we have sugarloaf chicory. That is a perennial green. Really excited about this one. You can keep cutting it year after year. It looks kind of like a romaine head. It's a cousin to radicchio and Belgium endive. And we have some Ford Hook chard and ruby red, and a little bit of bright lights in the back there. We've got garlic chives, nice flat large chive that's great for stir fry, and some collards and some kale. We got a little bit elongated there, but they'll be all right. Full tray of kale, and I do like to crack my domes like this when I'm waiting on some plants to still germinate. I've got plants in here that are fully growing, but some that are a bit behind, so I don't want the soil to dry out too fast, so leave this on, but give it a little more air circulation. And I also always drill more venting in my domes, and I like these low profile domes just because I can get a lot more in a tight area. And a tray of hybrid broccoli. We've got Chief, Sun King, Bernie, and some Ruby Perfection hybrid cabbage. Cauliflower here, Romanesco, San Martino, Violet. Not that many germinated though, kind of a scarce tray. So with the ones that did germinate, got about a half tray here, same with my other tray. About half as many as I was kind of expecting almost. But I'll probably transplant a lot of these into a cup this size because it's still early enough. And then do a couple more trays that I'll just leave in these 72 cell flats, and then they'll go directly into the garden from the flat. And here we have some flowers. A wild native, I think it's native, it may not be, but it's wild anyways. A spiking purple, pinkish flower that grows about 4 feet in height. It's a perennial, and I collected the seed on a walk that I took in my area, and the germination was quite abundant, as you can see. And so excited just to have this specimen just on the edge of my property. Hopefully attract some more beneficial insects. And in the back here we have Nicotiana alata. This is a tobacco, also known as jasmine tobacco, and it makes this long stalk with trumpet-like white flowers. Really beautiful, and the fragrance is outstanding. The blooms open in the afternoon and stay open all night long. A few years ago I grew some of this, and I remember coming out in the evening in the moonlight, and just the fragrance that filled the air was unbelievable. They are, in this climate, an annual, but they are also considered a kind of a short-lived perennial in warmer climates. And tobacco is in the same family as nightshades, so peppers, potatoes, tomatoes, and even goji berries, Solanaceae. And we have some perennial flowers here. Tritoma, started March 6th. Red Hot Poker is its kind of fun name, I suppose. And they are taking a while to come up. It's the end of the month now. We've got some that germinated. And I think it's hardy to about zone 3 or 4. So very hardy.
We've got purple ruffles.
Really beautiful one. Has a little bit of green, but mostly deep, rich purple. And Thai basil back there. And some holy basil. So it seems like quite a few of my trays this year had some low germination going on. A bunch of cabbage here didn't germinate, but we got some real nice stocky looking plants here, the ones that did come up. And the 5th level down, we've got some celeriac. I haven't grown celeriac before. It's basically just a celery that's been bred for its root. I've cooked with it before though, in soups mainly. It's also good raw in salad or sliced and eaten with hummus. So excited to try that one. It does seem fairly slow growing, just like the stalk celery. And we have some red-beard scallions there. Some Apache onions, more scallions. This is also a red color. One's purple and one's more red, actually. And then we have autumn giant leeks. Cylindra beet in the large tree plug flat. And I've just got some water in the bottom there that they are wicking up. Got some golden beets here. It's always nice to have a few of the golden ones. You know, they can be beautiful in salad. They're more mild in flavor. Or in a green juice, if you don't want to kind of dirty up your green juice, you can throw a golden beet in there and it'll just stay kind of that nice, beautiful green and golden color. So beets transplant very well actually, but you do want to minimize the root disturbance. So sow into a container that is large enough that they can go directly into the garden after. You don't want to be potting these up or potting them on. Got some black beauty eggplant and rosemary. Looking at this now, I'm kind of surprised that I chose to put these two plants together because the rosemary takes quite a long time to germinate and initial growth is very slow. But I'm pretty excited that I got about 30 plants here out of about 60 cells, so about 50% germination rate. And in general, it's fairly low germination rate with rosemary. It's a very small seed and takes, you know, about 3 weeks, up to 3 weeks to germinate. A few of these longer ones sprouted first, and then we still got some little tiny guys that are just came up about a week ago. So we got some peppermint chard here. It's my favorite variety. They're still germinating, so we got the dome on still. And of course we've got our tomatoes. 2 trays there, about 150, and I only need 100 max to plant out. And I've been cutting back a little bit on the varieties. Just kind of going with 2 of each type, like 2 cherries, 2 saladette, 2 or 3 paste aroma, and 2 like large slicing sandwich, heirloom quality, no flavorful type. So these are the 2 sizes of container I like to transplant my tomatoes in. Approximately a 2 liter and a 1 liter. And in the past I have done a lot of the 2 liters. It's almost a little excessive. Kind of just depends on how many starts you're doing. But more recently I've just been going with the 1 liter. Still makes a really nice large start. And we got some tomatillos this year. We got 5 here. Should be enough. They grow pretty big. It's been a while since I've grown these guys. An update on the onions here. Started these January 30th, pricked them out 3 weeks later. Now it is March 27th. They're doing pretty nice. They're starting to thicken up. Nice green foliage. And I would like a bit more space between my light and plant here. I need a higher shelf actually because I'm having to trim the tops every 3rd day. I would like to go about every 5 days. You don't want them touching the lights because they can singe and could mess with their production, the heat. They're very sensitive to things like that. Yeah, so we got Kelsey, Rosa D. Inverno, Elsa Craig, Walla Walla, Rosa D. Milano, and Retta Florence. And the lights are about to go out, and so we're just going to roll these tarps down now.